Hey, and welcome to Drive Time with Robin and African Payment Solutions. I thought I'd share some slightly different perspective on kind of macroeconomics and things relating to the coronavirus. We're all involved in it, and just my personal perspective on it from an entrepreneurial, payments, as a family man, and just in terms of business venturing in the world as we know it, which I think is not going to be the same again after this. Some fantastic benefits that come out of it. Unfortunately, it's a really tragic thing, but I think there'll be some very good things that come out of it. I think we're experiencing an extremely unusual situation from a health, lifestyle, and economic perspective. And it's hard to get to grips with the factual situation versus the emotional response, but I think it's becoming more and more clear over time. We're just not equipped to understand the extent of this kind of epidemic, and none of us have had it in our lives, and the way that it would impact on our personal, our work, our business, lifestyle, and our finances. So one thing's for sure, we want to stay alive, so that's our priority, and the statistics look too onerous for us to ignore it. And so I think this self-isolation is the only way to go, to delay the effects of it until we find better solutions. It's interesting, the different areas in different stages, like my friend in Italy, they're in self-isolation, it's just complete lockdown, no business, queues 3 meters apart at the supermarket. They're only allowed to go to the supermarket and the pharmacy. So that's starting to happen in the rest of the world, and yet in Cape Town we've got 61 reported cases, so who knows how many there might be, because I haven't heard anybody being tested. So this lily pad effect, I think it's unless there's a miracle, a projection of a vaccine or some way that this stops spreading, it's inevitable. We're just waiting our turn in the queue here for it to arrive in Africa. And with our lack of facilities, it could have quite a serious impact. We could be lucky because of the heat and the weather that it grows a lot slower, but that's probably an unlikely scenario. So world travel has been halted, the stores have been closed, it's pretty much shut down and in the infected locations, and I imagine the effect this is happening on consumers and business and government. People confined to homes are not going to be able to sustain their work, so their incomes are going to be terminated. I've heard of many of these already, and that is going to lead to defaults on their liabilities at the bank. Possibly last resort to offload their properties to pay their bills, which is going to tank the property market. Then in terms of businesses, not many businesses, the whole travel industry is pretty much shut down. Not many businesses can sustain a shutdown they don't normally have those kind of resources. So that's also going to cause defaulting of their liabilities to banks, which in my opinion is going to cause a bankruptcy of the banks, many of whom, or some of whom, let's not say many, but some of whom have been on the brink of collapse for quite a while and have been having government bailouts and things. So, bank failures. We might even see a run on the banks, because if there's bank failures, people are going to need their cash. My mother-in-law already said, do you think I should draw some cash out just to make sure I've got some in case we can't get to the ATM, or in case the banks collapse. So and then where do people put their money? I don't think they're going to be rushing into gold and Bitcoin on the short term, but medium term, whilst property prices declining, the stock market, I reckon, is going to come off by 50%. And so I think it will, on the medium to long term, move to the store of value will be Bitcoin and gold, either only kind of safe havens. So I think that's going to be an interesting situation for us to deal with. Yeah, I think let's expand to governments who've been recently maintaining their centralized positions of power, printing money to prop up what's already an overinflated asset situation. They're kind of detached. They've caused this by printing fiat and issuing money. They've caused a detached kind of perspective on tangible assets. So there's going to be a right sizing of assets in terms of their values, which is going to devolve the wealth from the higher echelons to consumers, or it'll be a big level of that. And this further printing of money is just exacerbating the situation even more. So the circle of life, you know, you can only blow smoke into these things for so long, and sustaining an autocracy. And so I think that it no longer represents the people, and there's a whole new generation of enlightened, conscious and young adults who are creating a sustainable way of being and disrupting this centralized economy to create a decentralized digital economy, which is running in parallel with the current one. And I think the centralized economies are slowly, or perhaps rapidly, deconstructing. Then let's talk about assets, specifically the financial world with this morphing financial system. As a result of the consistent issuance of fiat, the value of assets are under the illusion that they're worth more than they are and that they were growing. But this has completely come to a stop. We're starting to get right sizing of assets. And as I said, there'll be a flight to more tangible measures of wealth like gold, silver and Bitcoin. But it will take some time, because at the moment we have a liquidity crisis. Everybody's just turning to cash to make sure they can survive and to see what the next move is. Yeah, so I think that's it. You know, time has come, the war has said, a reality check. I think Corona is just the trigger, and as somebody said, it's the pin that pricked the bubble. So that's all from me today. Sorry, not very enlightening, exciting news, but there are some fantastic things that will come out of this, and I will do that in some follow-up videos over the next few days. If you're looking for online payments, our industry is just a matter of shifting from the physical payments to the digital payments, digital goods and services. So we've seen a massive increase in online shopping. So if you're looking for payment at the checkout across Africa, give us a shout. Go to africanpaymentsolutions.com, send us a note, africanpaymentsolutions.com, and we will see how we can get you paid at the checkout. Thanks a million. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe.